What's up everybody, I'm Mace and this is Bleu Chanel Parfum. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back, and if you're new here, think about hitting that subscribe button if at any point in this video you get some value and want to see more videos like this one. We are closing in at the time of filming on the 100 subscriber mark, which might not seem like much, but to me that means the world that there are actually 100 people out there in the world that want to hear me talk about something that I'm passionate about. That really means a lot to me. So if you guys do want to subscribe, that is awesome. And if you have any suggestions for how I can make this channel better, or any questions about this fragrance or other fragrances, leave those in the comments down below. Now, Bleu Chanel Parfum. This is a deeper, darker take on a blue fragrance from Chanel, who began the blue fragrance craze in 2010 when they released the Eau de Toilette of Bleu Chanel. This is the Parfum version. This is deeper and darker than the original Eau de Toilette. This is a top of the line blue fragrance, and this is the strongest in the line, both in terms of actual performance, actual power and longevity, and in terms of quality, in terms of, at least in my opinion, in terms of quality, in terms of how much of a recommendation it could be for me. This is the strongest in the line by far. Now, what are blue fragrances? Well, it's a genre of fragrances that are inspired by the original in this line, Bleu Chanel Eau de Toilette. What made it special at the time, and what makes other blue fragrances stand out, is their use of a synthetic molecule called ambroxan. That is a synthetic version of ambergris, which in its natural form is extremely expensive. And I want to stress that just because it is a synthetic note does not mean this or any other blue fragrance are low quality. In many cases, the synthetic versions of things are just as high quality. In this case, I do think natural ambroxan is kind of one of the pinnacle notes of fragrance, but it is prohibitively expensive, and there is a limited amount of it because it comes from an actual animal. It comes from whales. We fortunately don't have to kill the whales to get it. It's just a byproduct, but there is a very limited quantity. So I think it's really good that we're able to use it more widely in perfumery now because of synthetic molecules like ambroxan. Now, the main competitor for this in the ambroxan-based fragrance genre, blue fragrances, is Dior Sauvage. That is really historically Chanel's biggest competitor in designer fragrances, and in this case, Dior, very quickly after Chanel released Bleu Chanel and realized how successful it was, they released Dior Sauvage, and it has been more commercially successful than Bleu Chanel, even though Bleu Chanel is still something, at least the first two in the line, this is the third, at least the first two in the line are still things that you pretty commonly smell on people out in the world. They are still much less common than Dior Sauvage, which can actually be a good thing because you won't smell as much like everybody else if you wear this. If you're curious about its competitor Dior Sauvage, I do have a review of that on the channel. Check down below for that. As far as how this compares to other blue fragrances, I would say this is far more refined and classy than many other blue fragrances in the genre, and it's also much more expensive than most other things in the genre. There are recently some new things coming out that compete with it in this price range, but it is, when it came out, it was by far the most expensive blue fragrance, and it is still, in my opinion, the one most deserving of that price tag. Even though it is in the, if you get it from Chanel, which honestly you should order directly from Chanel's website if you want this. It can cost as much as $195 if you get the biggest size, which again, I actually recommend you do if you want it, because you get a better value for money if you go for the bigger size with Chanel. Now, this is a very linear fragrance, which some people would view as a bad thing. This does not change as you wear it. This, when you spray it on, is basically the same smell as a number of hours into its life on your skin. But it is an extremely well-rounded fragrance. It is not something that you can easily pick out notes on. The listed fruit in here, like the listed opening fresh top note, is grapefruit. I don't necessarily get grapefruit. What I do get is a rounded, smooth, dark, fruity body wash. Dark, fruity body wash. That's the main thing that's forward from it, the most forward element of it. And then right behind that, I get dark incense that's very subtle, a subtle dark incense behind that, and then behind that a round, smooth woodiness from cedarwood, and then kind of cutting up through the middle of those notes is the sharp metallic aquatic ambroxan. But that's not something that you get on first sniff. That's something you really have to think about to even pick out those notes. This is so well blended that it really does create its own distinct smell. I would not say that this just smells like body wash, unlike, in my opinion, the Eau de Parfum in this line does pretty much just smell like body wash. This one I would say has more character than that, but that is the most forward part of it. So, and that is kind of what defines the genre, is that body wash, clean, fresh, out of the shower smell. If you don't like that, if that's really sounds really off-putting to you, you should probably not be looking at a Bleu fragrance at all, because that's more or less what you're gonna get. Now, as long as that doesn't sound super off-putting, it's actually great. It's a fantastic smell, and it's something that people respond to extraordinarily well. This is by far the most complimented genre of fragrances out there. And this one in particular, I have had really good success with. People really like smelling it on me, and I've got a lot of positive feedback, which always makes you feel good. And how does it perform? Well, this has a very powerful sillage. By sillage, I mean the scent trail you leave, and also just the kind of bubble it creates around you. If you move like this and it's on your neck, you can smell it. That's the sillage. The sillage on this is extremely powerful with moderate projection. So you're not going to be noticed from across a room, but if someone is close to you, they will immediately pick it up. It is a dense cloud of fragrance, almost like a wall around you within that moderate projection distance. Within out here, it's like a wall. Anyone who passes within about that far from wherever you've sprayed it is absolutely going to smell you, and smell you strongly. It's interesting how that characteristic works. If you walk past someone, they'll get the sillage, and if someone comes relatively close to you, they'll pick it up, but it's not going to project monstrously off your skin like its competitor Dior Sauvage would do. And now, one of the standout qualities on this is its longevity. This lasts 12 to 14 hours on my skin, maybe longer, but honestly by then I'm taking a shower or going to bed or something. I don't know how long it lasts, at least 12 or 14 hours. And it projects for 4 to 6 hours of that, which is unheard of. This is phenomenal performance, class leading in terms of Bleu fragrances, and really one of the best performers, at least on my skin, out of my collection. And who this fragrance is for, I think this is for one thing, if you're a fragrance connoisseur, if you have a collection, if you really care about what you put on your skin, what you smell like, this is, without a doubt in my mind, the Bleu fragrance for you. Not that Dior Sauvage is bad, I still really like it, I still wear it sometimes, but I think this is the definitive, I care about my fragrance, Bleu fragrance. Bleu de Chanel Parfum specifically is just perfect for that, because that darkness and that depth is not something that you get anywhere else. And this is still mass appealing. So this is for the use case of you want something mass appealing, something that no one will dislike, but you also want to be slightly unique. Now, it's not as unique as going to a different genre, because the Bleu fragrance genre is a bit played out. That's just the way it is. It's unfortunate, but it is a bit played out. But if you want to stick with that, and there's nothing wrong with that, there's nothing wrong with sticking with the Bleu fragrance, then I think this is a great option for just a little bit more unique, and it sets you apart, like sets you above. You can tell when you smell it, when someone smells it on you, they can tell this is not something cheap. This is not Axe body spray. This is a cut above the other generic Bleu, just got out of the shower smelling fragrances. This is a cut above the pack. And I'll go ahead and get on to my recommendation. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. It sits up there on the wall of honor usually for a really good reason. This is absolutely a recommendation. For me, this is about a 9.5 out of 10. The only thing that makes it not a 10 out of 10 is there are so many Bleu fragrances and so many people wear them. If this had been the first Bleu fragrance that I smelled, or the first release, absolute 10 out of 10, 100%. Absolute recommendation. If you haven't picked it up, it is 100% worth the money, and this is definitely the one I would go with. If you've been thinking about the Eau de Toilette or the Eau de Parfum, in my opinion, you should save up your money and just go with the Parfum, absolutely. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you got value from this video, please hit that subscribe button down below. And if you have any suggestions for how I can improve the quality of these videos, leave those down in the comments below. I got a comment not too long ago giving me a few suggestions that I've implemented on this video. So hopefully it's a little bit better. I'm still new at this, but hopefully it's a little bit better, and we'll keep improving as we go. You guys have a great day.